Okay, we are here to discuss House of the Dragon season 3, episodes 5 and 6 because I was on vacation to Fenway Park.
Yes.
Woo, woo.
Look
We
at
got these
that.
wonderful,
Wait, do they sell those for every game?
apparently, which is
That's
crazy
wild.
because I was
That's
just
wild.
telling him that they need to do this for every stadium should do it for just because you have people that visit and
Yeah.
just have a shirt that commemorates that game. So, anyway, but got to see 2 new stadiums. So that's neither here nor there. That's why we're doing 5 and 6, right? So, first, episode 5, we're doing Unbowed and Unbent. And I have to say, these are a couple of, I wouldn't say like these are by any means better than episode 1, but I personally enjoyed these due to the disruption and stuff that's happening. But we'll get into this. So, Unbowed and Unbent. We have Oscar Tully and the Winter Wolves that which is Roderick. Basically, they're suffering from guerrilla attacks from
Yeah.
Kristen Cole and his group with he's still with Gwaine at this point. Um they're setting fires and burning bridges and they're just kind of really just causing them havoc. Instead of going to Tumbleton to meet up with Ormond, this is what they've decided to do. And then we have bounty hunters searching for Aemon at Harrenhal, turned away by Alice when she summons bats to attack.
Yeah, that was great.
And Aemon is haunted by dreams of Aegon and calls Alice mother, which we already knew that he had mommy issues, so
Yeah.
that's like not very surprising
No,
here
they've been driving that point home for a while.
for a while. We see Orwell sneaking Alicent some moon tea to give to Helena, and she refuses to drink it. She's like, "Nope, baby's mine." And
I
girl,
have thoughts on both of them, and I'll get into that more in the second episode because both of them, situational awareness is a big thing for me. If you go back to other episodes, I've talked about different movies and TV shows where you always have these characters who are in the middle of this situation that are seemingly the only ones that do not realize the situation that they're in. Both of them are like triggering me every single episode. Like the fact that you're still breathing, you should be grateful.
right. And maybe the only reason that they're able to have these talks is because they're pretty much locked in the room for 23 hours.
Right.
Aren't they given an hour outside?
An
Yeah. So,
hour of the courtyard walks.
yeah, conversation's probably very, very suffering at this moment.
Right.
We see Lady Frey complaining about not receiving Harrenhal due to the promise that was made to her. But but Rhaenyra's like, just kind of gives her a look and she's like, but I'll take a place on the council in the meantime until all this is settled. Um, Darren's irritation at the new members of the council is perfection. And
I
this
love
in
it so
episode
much.
5 and episode 6.
Yes.
Um, where they're in episode 5, they're whispering like Manderley and Lady Frey are whispering each because Manderley's catching her up on who all the members are. And of course, obviously, they're making jabs at Masseria, calling her the whore. And you just see like from their point of view, you just see eyeline to Damon, and he's just like,
He cannot stand anybody on that council, and I will throw Rhaenyra into that. He is all of it,
all of it.
over all of it, which again goes back to what you said. He is a conqueror, he is not a leader, and that point is driven home in this episode and the next episode.
Yes. Bela and Adam continue to search for Vagar. But you got basically just you're seeing that small disruptions or small irritations are kind of disrupting her rule right now. It's not going just smoothly. Rhaenyra is told that Joffrey has returned from the Vale, but she kind of pushes off seeing him. Aegon and Laris argue about where to head next. They have very different points of view on where they should be going. Massaria goes to Alicent, confronting her over the moon tea, forcing her to drink it,
Yes. Oof.
which is rough.
Yeah.
We have the Winter Wolf Roderick, who basically he plants crow's feet to slow them down, allowing Oscar to get ahead of them, burning the bridge. I thought it was really great, kind of this whole sequence, even though it's not shown specifically in this crow's feet part, but basically Oscar kind of leading them through the swamp, like knowing the Riverlands better than they do and leading them through the swamp and leeches, basically slow them down and
Yes.
playing them at their game that they were playing them before. Like,
Yeah. Hit the Uno reverse card on them.
right, Roderick was all ready to head. He was like, he told Oscar Tully, send me out. Let me just cut this kid, let me cut this group down. We're all itching for a fight. And Oscar's like, well, why don't we basically do to them what they've been doing to us? Um, so we have Kristen gets salty over Gwen's offer to serve the High Towers. You can see that he's just salty. Just salty.
He's salty.
Period. Alicent bribes a maid with her necklace to sneak them out. Damon finds more gold cloaks killed by a rogue soldier still loyal to the Hightower family. This is when the heterochromatic guy with the two eyes that they had kind of focused on in a different episode.
Yeah.
Um,
When Alicent was
Darren,
telling them to stand down,
yes,
I think.
yes, at that point, yes, when Alicent, yes, with Helena was telling him to stand out. Darren complains about the dry history of the Hightowers to Ormond, which I was like, brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which really Ormond can't even really, as much as he wants to dispute it and has like, listen, because like they don't have a colorful history the way the Targaryens do, to the point where he has to borrow a story from Dorne and the Martells to make a point about he takes any time he or any chance he can to be taking jabs at the Targaryens, calling them savage beasts.
Yes.
So basically he tells him, goes through the story of Maria Martell about how she kind of outwitted the Targaryens when and they remained kind of the independent from the Seven Kingdoms because they outwitted them. And I love that, right? Like during the game, he says, a cunning mind can resist the most savage of beasts. And it's right as Darren beats him in the game that's being
Yes.
played. Yes. So he beats him at the board game. He's automatically put on Ormond crazy watch because he's like, oh no, I was just lucky. And like Ormond maybe comes to his senses and says, don't apologize, never apologize for winning, and basically shows him that he's had coins made with his face on it. Alicent tells Helena they have to escape, but like, we're gonna take Jaehaera, but maybe like first of all, she's first trying to tell her, like, we just can't take her. She's gonna cause too much disruption. She's a child, and Rhaenyra's not gonna kill her, but we gotta get out of here. Like this,
Yeah.
it's becoming crucial that there's problems in King's Landing, and eventually it's gonna be at our door. So yeah, like
And you have to look at it from where they are. I am not advocating for leaving your kid. I'm not advocating for staying with your kid. I am looking
right,
at it from an outside observer.
sure,
I understand where
sure,
Alicent is coming from.
sure,
And then as a parent, I also understand where Helena's like, are you
sure,
crazy? I,
right.
I see both sides, but yeah.
Yeah, there is no good answer. There's like no good answer here, but it's clear that like Alicent is desperate to get Helena out, especially knowing that she's pregnant, desperate to get her out
Well,
of
maybe
King's
if you
Landing.
hadn't been wearing your best threads, you could have escaped the first time. But you decided to put on your Dior and all that Gucci, and then said, "Let's sneak out of the like." If you really wanted to be gone, you could have done it. But it's
Right. You fumble you made an unforced error in your first
yeah,
attempt. Balin and Madam are still searching for Vagar, and she worries about what her future brings. And he's like, they have a moment where he's like, I'll escape with you, and you're really led to believe, and you're led down one path thinking something's going to happen, but we find out later that other things happen. I'll get to that too. I
it's
have
just
thoughts on.
I don't know what I mean. Listen, you're a single woman. You do what you want to do, but you're confusing me.
Although I would say it was Adam that was kind of driving hard to the hoop. I don't want to
That's
say,
true.
I don't think
That's true.
she was like more of just kind of lamenting like where I'm going to be sent off and blah blah blah
Right.
blah. And Like, yeah, but that's kind of what happens to women like you. That's
Unfortunately, yeah, that's
right.
that's that's the game.
They're right, exactly. So Aemon realizes Vagar's left him and asks if he's a prisoner. She never answers. At that point, she very
Yes.
much stays silent. And she tells him that King's Landing is falling, and he basically starts whining that his mom favored Aegon, which, constant mom, we had it, constant mommy
They
issues with this
both are
kid.
saying it
Yes,
because
because immediately they transfer over to Aegon complaining about the opposite to Laris. But handles it very different, whereas
he cooked that man. Oh my goodness. I had to stand up and start clapping.
right, Alice handles Aemond in a very like, well, they, like you're probably getting it wrong. She probably loves you more than Aegon, but
Yeah.
she's really trying to soften him. Whereas Laris cuts right to the chase and says, "You weren't only a terrible king; you're just a terrible human being."
You're a terrible human being, and as far as, oh, my brother's better than me, you had every opportunity. Like, yeah, he might be just a natural better swordsman than you, sure,
Right,
but you had the best tutors, the best teachers, you had everything.
everything.
There is no excuse for you to not have stepped up.
No.
Legit, you had, and I mean, didn't tell a single lie. Was it
No.
harsh? Yes. Did I think he was going to get stabbed in that moment? Yes. But he didn't tell a lie.
But I mean, at this point, and it's not to be like, they very much both admit to being cripples at this point.
Yes,
It would be an odd fight for them to meet,
that's
like
true.
who gets away from who faster.
That's true.
Um, we have Damon finds Rhaenyra in the Sept, and they kind of speak Valerian to keep
I
people
do. I
from
love a little
eavesdropping.
Valerian convo.
Yes. She's like questioning, like, have the gods abandoned her? And I love that he mocks her. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you thought you'd just come in, and that it'd always be summer and never winter, and the people would love you. But she's convinced that something's stirring against her, and she kind of mocks him back
She
because she's
does
like,
mock him back, but again, this is another one of those situations where he's not wrong in what he's saying. Like, yes, you had visions of ruling like your father, but
right,
for the most part, I don't know for all of his reign, but I know the most part that we saw, he was never at war.
right. No,
There
it
and
was a peaceful time.
okay, yeah. So yeah, and but yeah, I did appreciate that. Well, I appreciate what Damon said, but I will be honest. As we've said, Damon is a conqueror, not a leader. There have been multiple times throughout the show where Damon's approach was the right approach. He
Sure,
was right about Otto. He was right about when they went to, and obviously it's for the story, but when he went and brought back the fake Targaryen and all of that, he wanted to kill them all. He told her to kill the Targaryen. Like, and yes, it was the wrong Targaryen in that moment, but as much as he is a hothead and as much as he is not a leader, multiple times for a lot of people, they try to see the good in people, they try to find the silver lining. Damon, as for all of his faults, sees things for what they are and is like, this is what we need to do. This is what we got to do.
yeah,
And obviously, you go and I think we'll talk about it more in the next episode. But well, I guess this episode where they're debating what to do with the tribute money that they have and feed the people, do this. He's the one talking about paying the gold cloaks. I think there wasn't really a wrong or right answer, but had they paid them, obviously people were still trying to kill them and, or sorry, were killing them. But like, had you paid them, the ones that survived probably wouldn't be quitting right now. He's not a leader,
right.
but the man tells it like it is.
And I think, because, like, how do I say this? Like, Alicent had warned Rhaenyra early on, like, you're going to become somebody that
Yes,
you don't want to be.
you
And
lose
I
parts of
think,
yourself.
right, but and she's trying very hard to be not that person. And Damon is already that person.
Yep.
So there would have been no like asking him to do the hard thing in order to, like he just already is that person. So it's like, would he have been a better ruler because there would have been no character switch? Like he would have never, there's no moral dilemma with him. There's no wrestling of moral issues. It's just he is already the person that you probably are going to end up being as king or queen.
There were things that would be better at moments, but I think leading with compassion or at least hearing people out is something that he wouldn't have done, and I think that is important. Yes, during this transition time and time of war and
Sure.
all of that, he has been correct for a lot of different things, but that mindset would have also made him a lot more enemies than they currently have. So like his way, I think would have progressed them farther, but I also think they would have lost a lot along the way that they still have. And I mean,
He would
he's
have needed a good hand of the king to keep him
yes,
in check and handling the ruling part, like some of the more, softer decisions that
agreed.
needed to be made. Um, Aegon eventually he does reunite with Laris after having his little temper tantrum, after
Yes.
being told you're a terrible human being, and agrees to his boat plan, and that's when we discover that Tywin Lannister is still alive. Um,
Got out of that armor pretty quick somehow.
yeah.
The
I
water
mean,
was shallow. There was a lot of rocks. Maybe he climbed onto a rock and hung onto it like a siren. But
that was my thought.
that man was sinking. Like,
Yes, yes, he was. Alicent and Helena get caught sneaking up on Mysaria, and that's when she discovers that Helena is the one that is pregnant. Um, and Alicent tells her, like, you kind of need to start worrying about yourself more than picking a side because when all is said and done, you're still nothing. You're still nothing compared to Damon. Like he's he's hers, they're each other's, and
this little
you're
back and forth is cute. The little Damon versus Massaria love triangle. But Alicent rightly told her, yeah, like I'm glad you've been having fun.
right.
Let's not forget what you are and what he is.
Yeah, he the baby daddy, yeah, right?
Yes.
He's the king consort. So like still you were a prisoner at one time. So,
Yeah.
me and you, same Z's,
Yeah.
just like whenever like you fall on the wrong side, you could be back in my position.
Yep.
Rhaenyra only sees Joffrey after he's fallen asleep. The Riverlands plan to lead them through the swamps in like terrible conditions, like we were told, in order to get in front of them and burn the bridge. So now they're well behind and they're kind of trapped now and
Without horses.
without horses because they have to abandon those. More bounty hunters show up at Harrenhal and attack Alice, and Aemon kills them, defending her. Um,
Was that part of her plan? Because I feel like she's a witch, and we haven't really seen her witch powers besides turning into a goat from time to time and summoning bats. But like, was she banking on Aemond swooping in and saving the day, or like was she done for if he wasn't there?
I I don't know because I don't know if she thought he was already so healed as to
That's what
save
I
her.
thought too, but like that's the part that throws me off because every time that she's had these conversations with Damon, with Aemond, with any of the bounty hunters that come in, you can tell that she's like toying with them.
Right.
And it seemed like she was doing the same thing here. And then within 30 seconds, all of a sudden she's outnumbered and they've got her bound or they've grabbed her. And I'm like, wait, are you telling me that this whole time anybody like I always thought like she was immortal, like she was taunting them knowing that they couldn't lay a finger on her because she's a witch. And now you've got these three regular bounty hunters that were seconds away from taking advantage of her and killing her.
Yeah, but he's still in the next episode is he's still scoping out horses to get out of there. So I don't know if she like if she did, she didn't plan it very well. Like she didn't fully convince him, or maybe she did and wanted to make her look a little bit more vulnerable, mother-like to
Yeah.
him. It who knows.
And
Um,
that's I'm just looking too deep into it, but I was a little surprised that that happened when those aren't the first men to come into
right,
Heron. Like we have seen so many characters
right.
come in there, and she has run the same play. I'm gonna taunt you. I'm gonna creep you out. little
Right.
back and forth, and then whatever happens, happens. And this started, and all of a sudden
Yeah,
they
maybe
got
it
her.
did. Yeah, like spun very much more out of hand than what she was anticipating.
Yeah.
Tylan and Laris debate where Aegon should go. But while that's happening, a man's creeping up, discovers Aegon's crown, and Aegon has to kill him. Much if you look at that episode again and you watch Laris' face, he's just like
Yeah.
he's just shaking his head, like, oh, here we go. Like this
Yeah.
is Damon gives a rousing speech to the Gold Cloaks, basically like, I know you're not getting paid right now, but eventually when all this settles down and we start conquering everything again, we're gonna have so many riches and you guys will have so much money
So much money you won't even know what to do
to
with
do
it.
with it. I know we don't have it right now, we don't have a plan, but just stay with me here. And he also is told that somebody has been captured. The man is tortured and gives Damon a Darien coin before, he confesses and says, like, I'm
Again with the eyes, just
yes.
every
Yeah.
week.
Every week.
Every week,
Every
every
week.
movie, every show.
Oh yes, even your big Cyclops in the Odyssey.
Yes. Ugh.
Um, so Gwaine, so basically now they know that it's Ormond that's doing it, and that he's kind of declaring Darren the king, and that even though they thought this had been settled by her getting into King's Landing, obviously not, because you have this group of Greens that are still keeping the fight going.
Which, like,
Um,
point for Damon again. Like, that goes back to what I said. Like, if he had had his way, all of them would have been dead.
yes.
And even if they were alive, and he kept telling Rhaenyra that what episode when they brought the fake Targaryen, he kept saying, you have to kill him, right? Like, and again, that's probably why he's over it. He's over it with the council, and he's over it with Rhaenyra because in his mind, he's keeping a scorecard, and he was like, oh man, this wouldn't have happened if you would listen to me.
I'm always looking forward to when him and Rhaenyra are having conversations and he storms off. He always has something to say as he's
Yes.
walking off. It's "You're better than this" was in this one when he's leaving her at the Sept, and the other times like, "You still have to kill the kid." Like
Yep.
he's always getting the last word. He's always needing to get that last word in with her, which is hilarious.
Yes.
Um, Gawain wants Kristen Cole and all their group of guys are like, listen, we've been outsmarted. It's just enough. Let's just head to Tumbleton. It's over. We've done what we can here, but let's go where we're needed and we're being asked for. And basically, that's when he discovers that Kristen Cole kind of has a death wish.
Mr. Greatest Warrior in the Realm. He was on Fraud Watch. When he said that, I was like, all right, bro. Now I will say in the next episode, for about 30 seconds, I was like, you know what? Take it all back. Take it all back. He might be onto something.
And in the book, he does like during like early on when Rhaenyra is young and
Yeah.
he's playing, it's all those jousting tournaments and
He
stuff like
beat
that. He
Damon.
does he does get the upper hand on Damon, I think a
Yeah.
couple times they say in the book. So he is this great, but I mean, like it was just so eye rolly and so cringy because he's just like, I'm so tired at just being a servant to everybody, and like I want to go out on my terms. And we will soon discover that this is war and you don't get to dictate terms when you're in war. So,
Yep.
and I have more to say about that too, because I think that's kind of the entire theme of either just maybe the season or just the show is in its entirety, but we'll get to that. So yeah, it basically admits that he has a death wish, that he doesn't want to get out of this, he wants to die. And
He doesn't want to get
going
out of it to serve another family.
right, which is crazy because that's what you do. I mean, like
That's what
that's
you do. As much as it, for us watching it in 2026, can be like, yeah, you want to be big, you want to be greater. Sure. But in that time,
right.
that's what you did. Either you were a highborn and you had the house and the castle and all of that, or you served them. You could either be a peasant and serve them, or you could be a knight and serve them. And while you were still serving them, things are better. And he was like, "No, I want more." Like, that's not how it works, dude.
That's
That's
not
not
how,
how it
that
works.
that's not how that works at all. And like you knew this, so
Yeah.
instead of taking I mean, he's very much acting like a school shooter at this point, where it's like you've got a suicide mission, but now you're taking a whole bunch of people out with you. Like,
Yep.
what are we doing here?
Yep.
Gawain abandons him to a suicide mission.
Cooper.
We see Helena discovering a passage where her and Alicent head but get trapped. Is a little weird. ending for them because you knew nothing was going to happen to them, so it was an odd choice to end it like that way. And then Damon discovers that Sir Luthor and the Gold Cloaks, more of them are killed, and they're now you were
Killed
talking about
and propped up, taunting him now. It's not just dead in the
right. It
streets.
says Feast of Traitors, yes, on the
Yes.
wall. And where you do not like eyeball stuff, I do not like guts.
Oh, well, that sucks for
And
this next
these two
episode.
episodes
Yeah.
had a lot of intestines.
That's
And
funny you say that because yeah, when that as we get to it, when that one guy got like split down the middle,
oh,
I was like, oh man, that's gross. But you give me anything eye related, and I'm just like, cut the TV off. I'm done. I'm done.
whereas I'm watching like anytime
Right.
guts come out, I'm like, don't need to see that. Don't need to see intestines hitting the ground. Thank you very much. And it's always like around the time that I'm probably going to be eating food. It's like,
Right.
this is crazy. So now we're caught up with episode 5, episode 6 called Faceless Men, which is kind of a throwback to Game of Thrones with the faceless men being the assassins. And that's kind of what they're wanting to happen in this. Um, and also, I will say the opening scene too, I think kind of plays into it, even though she's not a man. But even Arya was part of the Faceless Men, so maybe men is gender neutral in this thing. Because what we do is we have Chris. It opens up. Chris and Cole heads into a trap set by them, which I thought was kind of clever. But you knew immediately that it was kind of even
I
like
told
I,
Sarah I was watching it and I was like, some of those people might be dead. I was like, they're not all dead. Like, there's no way. And she's like, I don't know. There's maggots flying around. And I'm like, yeah, something 2 plus 2 ain't equaling 4 right now. And then
did you look at me like, don't ever
I
doubt
did. I
me.
like leaned forward. I'm like,
Don't ever doubt the king. Don't
yeah,
ever.
exactly.
Um, yes. So they're eventually they fall victim to the trap. There's a big battle scene that happens. It is very gruesome.
Very gruesome. Like I said, Crispy Cole, you were on fraud. Well, like I know what you did in the past, but you said I'm the greatest warrior in the realm, and I'm like, bro, stop it. I watched Damon walk into King's Landing with no backup, and he was ready to take on all challengers. What have you done for me lately? Besides, you, I mean, you're sneaking in and doing stuff under cover of darkness. What have you done for me lately? And I gotta say, he was off fraud watch. Maybe he was the greatest warrior in the realm. That man got ambushed and locked in immediately, and yeah,
Which is what he was wanting. He very much stated that he wanted to go out a warrior's death with his blade in hand and just go out this real honorable, like I said, warrior's way out. He wanted to go to Valhalla the Thor way, but
yeah.
he offers to duel both Roderick the Winter Wolf and Oscar Tully, which I love the kid that plays
I
Oscar
need
Tully.
more of them.
He is like our I'm blanking on her name, who was the girl. I mean, obviously now she's in Last of Us, but um
Ellie,
to who she played, I can't remember. I'm blanking on
that's
who
gonna
she
bug
played in
me.
Game of
But yes.
Thrones. Yes. Yeah, like Lady something. Yeah, she was very I love her, but they also now have they do a very good job of hiring. And I hate to call this kid a child because I don't know how old he is,
You can
but
never tell these days. I still think Tom Holland is a kid, and that man's like 30.
right, I felt well, side note, I felt very uncomfortable when he took off his shirt in the very first Spider-Man movie, and I knew he was 18 or 19, but I was still like, I shouldn't be seeing this.
Yeah, yeah.
But we have Alicent who, while he's giving his like speech on and he's ready to take these two on, Alicent shoots him with 3 arrows from behind the bushes, giving him very an unceremonious death, which
No
is
songs will be sung.
right, which is my point about this is war, sir. Like you don't get to dictate the terms on which you go out. And I think that is going back to earlier what I said is I think this is kind of a theme of the either this season or this season or the show in its entirety is these people aren't going out with very warrior like deaths. I mean, they're not going out in a very, I don't want to say like honorable way.
It's not glamorous.
No.
The way that people sing songs about it, the way that people talk about it, the way that the people like yeah, people that are in war are not glamorizing it, except he was, and he wanted it to be this
Right.
grand,
Well, even go
not
back to Jace.
gesture.
But even
Yeah.
Jace had these grand plans of what he was going to do during this Battle of the Gullet, and then ends up just getting shot in the water
Yep.
by three arrows, by three faceless men, by faceless people, and it very much draws parallels to me as far as All Quiet on the Western Front, the book written, and it's about like how these boys went into war thinking this was going to be like so magnificent and so just, I hate to keep using the word honorable, but you have this patriot like vision of what you're going to do. And then as the war goes on, they realize it's gross and it's
Yeah.
horrible and it's disgusting and there's no honor in war. And no matter
It's
what
not
side you're on,
pretty. It's you don't get to, like you said, you're not dictating how it goes.
no,
It's dark, it's gritty, it's raw.
you're used.
Yeah.
You're basically pawns on a chessboard that of other people that aren't having to fight, like we're going to get into later with Ormond, who basically loves to send pigeons and ravens to have other people get their hands dirty, but when confronted pukes. But we'll get into
Yeah.
that very much later. So basically he's again unceremonious death. Then we cut to the Hightower girls are discovered. It's a real quick scene. You knew they weren't going to be in there very long. Damon tells the council that Ormond's causing issues, and he's like, let's burn him out. Dumbledon and everybody else is like, I do love the again, another great scene of with him and the council and the new members where, do you remember
He said,
exact quote?
I will not, because they were talking about battles. And
I
he
don't
was
want
like,
to hear
I, well,
anymore.
any more discussion from people whose only battle is with indigestion took me out. You could have ended the episode right there, and I would have given it a 10 out of 10.
Because he has had it with these other people in the council.
Oh,
He's just like, you need to stop talking. Because Lady Frey is basically like mocking him, like, oh, yes, well, we know dragons are so known for their precise, which they were giving him rightfully so the reasons not to do it. Like you
yes.
can't do this, right? So Alan, the voice of reason, says you need to get more people in, and to attack the city, but we need to do this very discriminately. And that's kind of when they come up with the plan to assassinate the high towers. And Damon wants to do it, and she's like, "You've got a crazy recognizable face," which I think he does kind of take to heart later in
Yes.
this episode. Um, was like, no, you can't do that. She was like, you're right. I'm conceding you were right earlier. You do need to stay in the city. And he's just itching for a fight, right?
Yes.
He's just anywhere. Like, just point me in a direction and let me attack somebody, please, God.
Yeah.
And right as they're kind of like, they've settled on that they're going to send somebody that's faceless to kill Ormond, the delegates from the House Baratheon show up and they offer their services because their lord is off fighting somebody else. The Vulture
Yes.
King, I think they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, how is he worried about some little squabble compared to what the needs of his queen are? And they say the right thing. They're like, list, because she's like, I could just hang you for treason instead, in his stead. And they're like, please, whatever
Hold
you
on a
need.
minute.
Hold up. Hold up. Wait a minute. They're like, anything you need us to do, we'll do for you. And they're like,
Yes.
interesting.
Yes.
We'll come back to that later. She's like, give me your belts. I didn't understand that, but
Yeah, I was confused by that one, but okay. I had no idea. I was like, I don't know what you need the belt for, but
all right. Um, Hugh is taking Ulf's spot for the watch, and Ulf is just, he's over it. He is over being a servant. He's wanting to just drink and he's just wanting to enjoy market days and he just wants life to go back to normal. He only wanted the dragon to show off and he can't show off to anybody. So what is the point in all this? This is just useless. Blah 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 blah. He very much, to me, he could very easily be like, if you didn't know what show you're watching, you would think he's very much a Lord of the Rings character.
Yes. He's one of the
Like,
hobbits. He is one of the hobbits.
yeah, very much. Yeah, he's just like you could throw him into that movie and not skip a beat. It would be hilarious. So
He
he's yes,
is one that annoys me. I see where he's coming from
right.
because you were a bottom feeder that by luck of the draw or luck of the sperm have now ended up on the highborn side, but you're not accepted as the highborn, and you get to do all the non-fun stuff on the highborn side, but now you don't get to do the bottom feeder stuff that you did for fun. Part of me is like, dude, read the room.
Shut
They're
up.
they're in the middle of a war that we thought was over, but actually isn't over. If you guys do your job and things eventually start to calm down, then you will get the house, maybe, but you'll get to fly your dragon around and some of that fun stuff. But yeah, it's you're in the middle of a war and you're complaining that you don't get to do the stuff you used to do. But at the same time, it's like, well, he was kind of dragged into this.
Once, yeah, yes and no. I will. Yes. Once again, I agree with you that it's very much the war thing. Is that you don't get to dictate the terms of this. Like
Yeah,
this is a war. This is you don't get to dictate. But you did show up
that's true.
to
You
claim a
showed up to that
dragon.
cave.
You were out bragging about that you had Targaryen blood to
Yes.
everybody, and you wanted this dragon. Again, you don't get to dictate the terms of that when you have a queen.
Yep.
That's like saying, like, well, I was given a nuclear weapon, but I just can't do anything what I want with it. Well, no, this is this is who you've sworn fealty to.
Yep.
So, and you showed up specifically wanting one of those cars. Like, don't
That's
complain
true.
now that you got to pay the taxes on it,
Right.
right? So Rhaenyra confronts Alicent over her escape attempt, and she confesses about Helena being pregnant, which I was kind of very surprised that she just came out
She
and said
played
it.
her card. That was her final card,
Yeah,
and she
because she
played
kind
that
of
one.
feels hopeless at this. Like
Yeah.
this is it. Like, um, and I thought Rhaenyra played it like, how dare you think that I would have just killed the kid? Like, you're not giving me any credit, and like, I'm still trying to be the person I don't have to be, but like, why wouldn't you have given me a little bit more credit than this? Like, why we've all lost children in this. I don't want to keep that going. So why would you think like, and I was appalled when they killed your grandson to begin with. What makes you think I would do this
Yeah.
again?
And then Allison tries to, in a way, kind of put it back on her, throw it in her face of like I forget her line, but she kind of was like, "What are we to each other? Like, are we friends or
Oh
this or
yeah.
that?"
She said, don't try
And
to.
we both kind of are like, "Here's," and that's where I was saying earlier. It's the part that annoys me is the lack of awareness because Rhaenyra
Sure.
flat out tells her, "Everyone in the kingdom, my council, everyone." is wondering why you guys are still alive.
Right.
I allowed you to live, and yes, you're in confinement, but you have to be.
Right.
But I've allowed you to be in confinement. You're not in a cave. You're
Right.
allowed to walk in the garden. Like, are you contained? Yes,
Yes.
but I have given you more freedom than you deserve, and I am the only one vouching for you in this entire kingdom.
Right.
Everybody else said you should be in prison or dead. You need to read the room, no matter, regardless of what we were, and what we were is the only reason why you're still here. But like, we are at war. Your kids are literally a threat to me, and I am still allowing you all of this leeway. And now, when I'm doubling your guard and taking privileges away, you're gonna try to throw it in my face of like, well, what are we, and all of that. And it's like, girl, read the room.
Right.
The
Right.
fact that you are still breathing, the fact that
With
I sent your
your
kid to the
cousin and
wall.
son causing havoc in my city
Exactly.
under your last name.
Yes.
Like
And zero sympathy. And yes, I'm not blaming her for trying to escape. Like,
sure.
I get it. And I know when she's like, you would have done the same. Valid point. But in the words of John Wick, rules and consequences. Like, you can't be mad at me for any of this because your family has
Started this.
started this, has been the cause of it, just like when she was looking at her sideways when she beheaded her dad. Like you knew that had to happen. You
Right.
knew that had to happen.
And you should be glad that you're not now not sitting in the cell that he was occupying.
Exactly. And like that, like it just annoys me week after week when she's sitting there in her room looking out the window, knitting, complaining, like, why won't you let us do this? Why won't you let us do this? It's like every breath that you take is a blessing.
Right.
Like, stop it.
Right. We also agreed to say that your one kid is dead. Like, even
Do
though
I?
we
Oh,
know
oh, yeah.
we both pretty much know that he's still alive
We
somewhere.
both
Like,
know he's alive, and we have allowed him to say that we're allowing him to basically not be hunted.
yeah.
I'm sending your other kid to the wall when I could have him hung in the streets right now. And all you're going to do is, oh, well, we used to be friends. We used to be friends. Yeah. And then you did this, and I gave birth and you made me walk through the castle. You think I forgot about that? Like, come on now. I do not feel sorry for Alicent.
I completely forgot about that, but you're 100% right. Like my line of beef is goes so long. Like, please don't.
Yes.
So she was very right, and it's like, don't test me.
Yeah. I
Don't
was glad she said it. I
like
zero
don't
sympathy.
yeah, don't test like this.
Yeah.
Don't test me. Don't throw that up in my face.
Yeah.
Not now. You got to
Exactly.
be kidding. If we were friends, your ass should have ended this 11 years ago.
Exactly.
So we have the gold cloaks basically all resigning because they're fearing for their safety. They're saying that we can't feed our families. We got no money coming in. And this situation. Now we're being hunted. Like, this is not helping. So we're kind of out of here, which is crazy. But I mean,
It's
to
yeah,
me, I kind of was watching that part and I'm thinking, okay, but let's say that Aegon or Aemond was king at this point. At this point, you still wouldn't have had any money. You would
correct.
have had some, like maybe Thailand wouldn't have been hiding it, but the kingdom was kind of already in disrepair, kind
They
of
wouldn't have been
anyway.
getting assassinated, which I think that was probably the tipping point. Because yeah, they
Sure.
weren't getting paid. It does seem like they're throwing that in the new regime's face, and it's like, no, y'all weren't getting paid before. Food
Before,
was being rationed before.
before, right?
You guys getting stabbed in alleyways, I'll give you that one. That one's new. But the other stuff, you were already struggling.
I'll give you that. Fair point. You can lay the assassinations, the
Right.
disembowelments on our doorstep. We'll take that hit. So Alan tells Corlys that Rhaenyra needs more troops, and Corlys craps on him for serving her. But I love that Alan hit him back with basically Corlys says, and you can correct me, you can find if you can find the exact line is like he's like, how dare you serve somebody who won't legitimize you? And Alan hits him with, and how many years did it take you to do it?
Exactly. And he
And he
had
was
no
like,
comeback. His face was just like, oh. And it's like, yeah. And then he walked off. I was like, yeah, mic drop. Because we've been saying it since the last episode, and he was getting mad at Rhaenyra. Like, bro, you were the one that left to go get some milk, and then you came back on draft day, and you're like, "Oh, hey, son." Like, no, no, no. Decades. You and it wasn't like you just hid from him. You looked that man dead in his face and still walked right past him.
right, you're
Like,
right. So
ugh.
I thought of you when I heard that line. I thought Will's
Oh,
finally got his. I was like, we were talking about this earlier, but like that just because you all of a sudden decided this legitimacy needed to be expedited, like that was on your like. Why do you think these things need to happen due to your timeline when it's been going on for years now?
for
Like
years, and you
how
did not have a single problem with it, and now you're lashing out at Rhaenyra, and now you're trying to and you were going on your temper tantrum. Now you're trying to lash out at him, and it truly is like, bro, you don't get on your high horse. You've been doing this for decades.
right.
You could
I
have asked
do
Viserys to legitimize them. You could have done all of that, and you didn't want to until 2 weeks ago, and now you're in your feelings.
right now you want everybody to do it super fast. Like
Yeah.
doesn't work like that.
Which again goes back to your point of in war, like you don't get to dictate how things go.
No.
We're at war. I've lost everything, so you need to do this now. That's not how it works. We're at war. Yes. You've lost everything. Yes. You've been loyal to Rhaenyra, which caused you to lose everything. yes, that's war, but like, and it's not glamorous, it's not pretty,
No.
but that's how it is, which goes like you see it throughout the show, but this season specifically,
Yes.
war is not pretty, it is chaos, and trying to control the chaos is just going to make things worse for you.
Yes, only backfires in the end because you don't get to determine any of these you don't get to determine your future at all when this is going on. So we get Tyland's basically helping bury the body that Aegon killed. Aegon's like picking his nails. Laris is telling him you're not burying him deep enough. Tyland's like, listen, at any point the shovel's free, you can come help me. And they take a beat because then they start debating again on where to go. And Aegon hits Tyland with, "Do you think I'm a terrible man?" And he's like, "Oh, well,
That was hilarious.
we're everybody is composed of good and bad." And it's
You
like,
see,
and and you see
Webster's
Aegon just kind of like
dictionary
smirk, like, okay.
defines.
Well, he starts like waxing philosophical, where he's not a philosophical man,
Yeah.
so it's very painful to watch. They decide to sail for Essos. Rhaena is suffering and sees her dragon, her
Oof.
sister's dragon flying and looking for Vagar still. We cut to Alice wants Aemon to heal and be patient, telling him that Vagar probably flew away to save him. Like, this is why your dragon, she didn't abandon you. She knows that if she keeps the hunt away from here, like if she were to stay here, everybody'd know you were here. So she's off doing her own thing in order to save your life. So why don't we just chill with trying to get out and find him right now? Like,
Yeah.
why don't you heal your wounds and then get out there and look? And she says, "You'll fall alone." And they immediately cut to Jane Eyre throwing someone out the moon roof.
Yes.
And she's like, never gets old.
Drip down as usual, just wearing all her best clothes. That woman has not missed an outfit yet.
No, but she's a very, very cold woman. She's very, very, she slaps Rhaena for coming out of
That,
hiding.
yeah.
Um, it's just bold, but especially Rhaena should have told her, listen, my dad knows that I'm alive, so keep your hands to yourself on
Yeah,
this.
like, look, you have leverage because I stupidly
Right.
confessed 30 seconds after landing here. You got me on that one, but my dad knows now. My dad already doesn't like you. So like we can go down this road if you want to. You can push me out the moon roof. You can sell me out to Renee. You can do all of that. Just know that my unhinged father will burn this place to the ground with you in it.
Right. You might get an up close view of that moon roof a lot
Right.
sooner than what you think. Yeah, I was
Right.
just kind of like shocked that she didn't tell her, but maybe she would be like, oh no, you really gotta go
I
now.
was
I
gonna
don't know.
say maybe she thought she would kick her out because as far as
Yeah,
she knows right now, nobody knows. And while yes, you do gain some leverage back by telling her that like my crazy
right.
father knows, but the flip side of that coin is she makes you leave like right now, right now.
But she has to know something because she says to Rhaena, the whole reason you're still alive is because everybody believes Sheep Stealer Rider's dead.
Yeah.
So word had to have gotten back to her that Damon or someone killed somebody believing
Yeah.
me. So that was like,
Hmm. I didn't think about that.
right, because she got the news. She clearly got the news because she says it to Raina. Like, listen, the only reason you're still alive is because everybody thinks that Sheep Stealer's Rider is dead. So,
Yeah.
Alan asked Bela to reach out to Corlys and talk to him, but she's like, listen, dads who don't do therapy suck. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna have to suffer through this. And then they kiss, and I feel like this is a little forced and rushed, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Especially when you're led to the last episode, her sharing these moments with Adam, and then all of a
That's
sudden
what threw
she's
me off.
right,
Like,
and then yeah,
she
yeah,
just wants to see
she.
who's the better kisser and then she'll make her decision.
But again, like we said, Adam was the one shooting his shot, so
Yes,
maybe she just wasn't feeling him, which is crazy because he is the much better looking.
I agree.
So, but I mean, like in the book, they end up together, so I guess they're just trying to fast track this in some way. But I just, I they did the best they could with that storyline because it was the whole like I'm just tired of everybody telling like basically I think it was a little bit of a part of her not wanting her future given to her, her
Yes,
kind of taking her like an avenue that she could see being her future.
correct.
Like I can legitimize you,
Yeah, you just say the word.
right? So Gwaine arrives at Tumbleton where he gets a dressing down from Ormond. Ormond is a great character. I love that he's basically written for us all to hate him and not
Yep.
and just anxiously wait his death.
That's how you knew
Um,
Crispy Cole was about to die, because this man was getting a lot of screen time, really pissing me off.
right, and it's kind of like how Game of Thrones. It's like before Joffrey died, they had already introduced
Ra uh,
Ramses.
Ramsey, yes, thank you. Ramsey Bolton.
Yes, yes, and yeah, you started to see him, and you're like, oh, here comes the new villain. Tells Gwaine that I love this that he tells Gwaine that Rhaenyra won't burn this town because she's a woman and she's squeamish, which is hilarious as what happens later.
Yeah,
Gwaine just kind of like sees through his blustering and like what he knows him better than anybody and sees him for what he is and is like, I'm the one dying or I'm the one that's I've fought battles. Like, I'm sorry, I haven't enjoyed a feather pillow and I can't even tell you how long, like
right.
let me just get a friggin' bath here. And then Gwaine kind of chastises Darren for like fawning over Ormond, and Darren kind of admits that he hates him.
Yep. Well, not kind of.
He hates him.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's like, I hate who I am around him. I hate, like, but I'm trying to keep him in line and in check as best as I can. And he is very much less optimistic about Ormond's grand plans. He's like, we all know I am not going to be king.
yeah,
Like, let's not play here. Like, I don't understand this, but what else am I supposed to do? And Gwaine's like, listen, I'm heading back to Old Town to basically be there when all these things fall apart.
yeah.
Somebody's got to be there to pick up the pieces when Ormond's plan gets shot to hell. Like, that's what I'm going to do. But you got Helena refusing to eat and due to the betrayal of Alicent lying about taking Jaehaerys with them.
Yes.
But like Alicent's like, listen, I've sacrificed so much and I'm just trying to save you. And Helena's sticking herself with the embroidery. Okay, off topic a little bit. I know there has been chatter on like New Rockstars just talked about that the embroidery is like a week ahead on the things that are happening in the opening sequence of
Yes.
House of the Dragon. The embroidery has been a week ahead as far as things that have happened. My theory is that that's Elena's embroidery. And that
Oh,
because she's a dreamer, we always see what's about to happen
okay.
in the story. Because I find that very weird that they would just mistakenly be doing this.
I could see that.
But and then we see her with her embroidery with Aemon's body laying in a red vagina.
Okay, I literally when they flipped it over, I said, "Oh, he's sleeping in the pussy." All right. And Sarah's like, "William." And then I'm like, "No." I rewound it. I paused it. I said, "Tell me that
Right.
that man is not sleeping in a red vagina."
Tell me
And
that's
she's
not a vulva.
like, "Come on now." And Sarah's
Yes.
like, "Okay, fine." I'm like, "That is ex I don't know what it was supposed to be.
Right.
That's
But
a
it wasn't an
weird
oyster.
shaped bed or pool of blood. I don't know, but I can tell you what it looks like."
No, he was clearly sleeping and he was curled up in a vagina, which
Yeah,
there's so much Freudian things that you can glean from that
yeah,
due to Aemon's obsession with his mother. But again, going back to that, I think they're showing Helena's foresight in the embroidery. Um, this a stable boy sees Aemon and Alice kills him and is like, "See what I've done for you?" Like, and I did start to get a little mad because when he was like, "Just tell me what like what," and she was like, "This is for you to figure out." And I thought if they cut away and she doesn't tell him nothing again, but they immediately like go to like her showing him 5 dragon eggs that she was keeping from a Rhaena Targaryen's dryer from long, long, long ago. I think they said hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, from Dreamfire, who laid a clutch of eggs while she was there at Harrenhal and died. And she basically kind of appeals to his loneliness, like, I'm lonely, you're lonely, I can give you the whole mama thing that you're looking for. Why don't we do this together and you be my dragon rider and we'll raise some little dragons and
Yeah.
yeah,
The Westeros dream. Little
yeah.
white picket fence, a few dragons.
Few dragons. It's very domestic. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes, yes. Common folk are complaining to Rhaenyra, and she cuts her finger on the throne.
it
And
happened.
we all understand what that means. Basically, it
You're
means the
it
throne
means you're
has
dumb.
rejected you.
Yes.
And she knows this because she's like, eat, and she scurries. She's like,
She scurries off, and
guts to
which
get out.
even though you're scurrying off because your finger got cut and also the people are annoying you, and obviously they've been building towards this, but
Sure,
your people complaining, ju rightfully complaining. I'm not saying they're complaining like unjustly. They are rightfully complaining, and you
sure.
just storming out. Not a good look. Like, regardless of whether your finger got cut, you walking out on your people is just adding,
Right.
no pun intended, fuel to the fire of what is going to happen down the line.
Yes. Masseria kind of is watching and is, I love the fact that this actress is pregnant and that they keep hiding her and
They're doing a
her
terrible.
dress keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. And I realize there's no way around it,
No,
but I have seen multiple shows that do it better with like less production value. And this show that's got like 1.5 million per episode can't figure out like, obviously it reaches a point where it's like impossible to hide.
right.
But I was like, guys, come on now.
So Damon disguises himself to draw out the assassin, kills him. Basically, this guy is like Hydra. He's like cut off one head, three more appear. He
Exactly what I
does
thought.
right. It was very Hydra. I actually expected him to say that exact line because I was like, "Ugh." But he kills him, and he runs into Ulf and beats him in front of the common folk, which
That was
again,
funny. Alf is like, what are the chances? Like, come on now.
but he does beat him in front of common folk, and so now we see a prince beating on the common folk
The
in front of the
prince
common
beating
folk.
on the common folk and the queen walking out on the common folk.
Right. And then we've got Hugh, who wagon jacks a driver and slips into Tumbleton to convince his wife to leave. And she's like, where were you? Like, you were busy off, like, getting a dragon, and I didn't need you to get a dragon. I just needed you to help me get out of King's Landing, but you were off trying to prove something to somebody.
That scene hurt me. I saw both perspectives, which obviously is a cop out, but
Sure.
he it wasn't like him wanting to run off and be a hero. Everything that he did was to try and better the life of his wife and family.
Sure.
So I can't even fault or hate him for that. But when I don't know the actress's name, but that little scene that she had, that one got me because she rips into him and is
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I didn't need you to do all of that. I needed you. And
Right.
part of me is like, yeah, but like where he was at that time, he was incapable of doing anything for you. He had
Right.
already like tried everything. So like this was his only option. So
Right.
it wasn't like he ran off hoping to win it, hit it big. He
Right.
did it for you, but her line delivery and just the emotion of her being like, I didn't want you to do that. I needed you here. I've been through hell. Whew. Great
Yeah.
scene. Emotional
Great
scene.
scene. Very good. She did a fantastic job. Yeah, it was yeah, she definitely let him have it in that scene.
Yeah.
It
Which
was
I mean, I get like you watched your brother die, or not watched it, but he died because he was standing up for you and the other lady in the house. Was that her sister or his sister-in-law?
maybe, yeah.
But like all of that stuff that we saw, plus everything else, which she talks about how long that road was. Like, did something happen? A lot happened. I was like, oof. And it just you go back to him sitting triumphantly on his dragon and sitting on the hill. And yes, the whole time, even when talking to Rhaenyra, he didn't defy her, but when she said like, no, Ulf is going, he's like, no, I need to go. Like everything that he did
Right.
was for her.
Right.
But in the end, she didn't want that.
Right.
That was
So you
good.
wonder how that'll
That was
play
that
out
was good.
later
Yeah.
with the what we know is eventually going to happen between
Right.
them. Then we have Ormond, Gawain, and Darian Eaton, and they're told that House Baratheon has sent an envoy, and Gawain quickly realizes there are assassins sent to kill them because basically he's done his homework. He knows who all the lords look like and what color hair they have and
He's got him on
everything.
Grinder. He knows.
So
He knows what they
he
look
knows,
like.
yeah, because yeah. Speaking of, yeah, Ormond's throwing very much a lot of homophobia shade
Yes.
at Gawain. Like
Yes.
keep your back against the wall,
I
keep your
hadn't heard that insult in like a decade. When he first said that, I was like, what is he talking about? Like, whoa! People are still saying that?
feels yeah, like, well, he's like, I felt bet you found comfort in, some of your other servicemen and like,
Yeah.
yeah, and keep your back to the wall. He likes, he likes to be back there and
I don't
just
know. I would have taken what's his face out of the room and letting the assassins do their thing.
right. Gawain he's but he kills them all. I mean, obviously he's still the more manly of them both
Yep.
because after all said and done, Ormond pukes all over the place after calling Rhaenyra squeamish, which I thought was very hilarious. So,
Outstanding.
and then we kind of like talk about like Gawain kind of tells Ormond like, listen, I know you're more than willing to sacrifice a whole bunch of people for whatever you got planned,
Yep.
but the one person you won't sacrifice is yourself.
Yep.
So, what is your plan? And they do not they cut away from that. They do not before he answers, we don't ever find out what that happens or what his plan is. Alicent tells Rhaenyra she knows where Aemond is, because Helena had told Alicent that she knows that Aemond's at Harrenhal. And there was one of those scenes where she was like, he burns but without fire. And she's just like, stop talking in riddles.
I can't
Just
do this.
tell
Which
me
another good scene where Helena is still upset with Alicent, which is one of the things that I had forgotten. But she talked about how, like, oh, I kept you here because I wanted this, this, and the third. Rhaenyra offered Jace and Helena, and Alicent turned it down, which goes back to my original thing of I have no sympathy for you, Alicent.
no.
I just want to protect you. I just want to do this. I just want to do it. You burned all your goodwill when you started sleeping with my dad, which honestly, that one really wasn't up to her. I take that back. That was Viserys. But like, as soon as you became queen, you were not like you.
No.
No. And then now
No.
Helena kind of confronts her of like, why didn't you let me go and all of
Mm-hmm.
this? And yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Basically, she's like, the cage you created for me is now killing all of us. Like,
yep,
in order to keep your kids close to you, you've kind of made us all prisoners because now the boys are on the run. I'm stuck here. So, yeah. So basically, yes. Alicent tells Rhaenyra that she knows where Aemond is. And that's when she kind of realizes that Helena is a dreamer, like a Targaryen of old. And she says basically another one of these faceless men references like, I'm not going to send a faceless man this time. I'm sending you
yes,
because he won't ever see an ambush coming from his mother. Um, she Alicent tells Helena that she's got to leave. That I don't think she ever says what she's going to do there, but Helena probably knows, the future. So
right.
whatever, but she tells it she's going to leave, and I'll send for you later. Which I don't know if you'll ever see those two together again.
No,
Not betting on it though. Orwyle brings Rhaenyra a cloth that comes from the Baratheons or from High or from Tumbleton that says, "Kick this dog and it will bite your hand." Which then we cut to Corlys telling his men that they're going to be needed in the city. They need to go back, and he's kidnapped by Ormond's men. So, in fact, he did bite your hand. He is literally biting your hand of the king, hand of the queen. He followed through with it. Kick this dog, and it will bite your hand. He is biting the hand. I know everybody is like, "Tell me Corlys isn't dead." No, Corlys is not dead. They are kidnapping him for like the one thing he does say about Corlys is she made a good decision in hiring that man or in naming him Hand of the King. So Yes,
for everything he has insulted the Targaryens at every turn. So for him to give that compliment, you know he means it. Like he's not just trying to hype her up. Like
right.
he hates Targaryens,
Which
but
is
he's like, I got to give you your props.
right, which is hilarious because he's very xenophobic, or he's like very like very nationalist. He has
Yeah,
the superior race. He talks about the superior race, and then like, but it's crazy because like we place on our idea of like like society what they've always said, and then like he considers the one African American guy that we've got that's like the hand of the king. He's like, but
yeah,
this guy's the smartest
yeah.
guy. Those Targaryens, those white haired ones,
Those
like
white-haired
the
Valyrian.
complete
Yeah,
flip of like the whole Aryan
yeah.
idea is like there's no blonde hair, blue eyed that's the superior race. It's actually Corlys here. He's the
Right.
master, which I'm sure if Elon saw that episode,
Yeah, he'd call it trash and have Grok write its own Game of Thrones series.
an AI inspired.
Yeah.
But that's where we are, caught up with the two episodes. Like I said, I really enjoyed them because there's a lot of whereas there were battles going on, you got sprinkles of battles and fighting scenes here and there. A lot of it was more geared towards the machinations of the kingdom and how there's like these little underhanded things being done to like even though things should be going well, they're not. And so it's like I said in another episode, it's like a death by a thousand cuts, and that's essentially what you can see in this when she's cut by the throne.
Yeah, and you've seen it those last few episodes, and I've seen the discourse, the chatter on Twitter and everything else, and I see where people are coming from. I agree with you. I think these episodes have been great. They've really moved the story forward. But outside of the first one or two episodes, I will say I expected more battles. I
Sure,
like the episodes. I appreciate the storytelling. 'Cause I know a lot of people are just like, oh, this season's been mid. I don't think so. I think, as I always say, people want the Michael Bay version of these things, where it's just explosions and guns and blood and guts and all of that. We haven't gotten as much of that as I feel like maybe we were promised, or
I
maybe we
think
all
we're
just
going to.
assumed. And I think we will, but
Yeah,
I just the last few episodes we've seen the end of battles or they're talking about a battle and it's like well I would have liked to see that and like we talked about on previous episodes they can't fit every battle in there but I think coming in at the tail end of the fight is like okay well what about I want to see more of that. Now Crispy Cole gave us a great 30-second gory scene that was
right,
great but I will say it is not that I dislike this season or I think these have been really good episodes. I think I just expected more battle scenes in these last four episodes. But I'm not mad because I think
sure,
what they've switched it out for has been great storytelling. So while I can understand why people are upset or wanted more, it's not like it's just a filler episode. Because I think I see
right.
that being thrown around. It's not a filler episode.
No,
It's just not as gory as I expected.
right. And it's, I think what people need to realize is even though it is a war, like we talked about previously, is they're in a war, like I said, let's take the Civil War, for example, or even the Revolution. You have big battles that
Yeah.
have names and people's names attached to them, and they're these big things. But more along, there were always like guerrilla skirmishes happening all over the place at every time. And it was very, I don't want to say not every day in Civil War was there a huge battle that was named. A lot of it was people ambushing each other in forests and like little militia attacking each other off of like a hillside. and
Yeah.
then and then you would have the big commanders, like Thomas Gage and George Washington meet in these big things, and then they have the big battles. But a lot of these things were like picking at, and like I said, it was a lot of guerrilla warfare, especially
Yeah.
like for our Revolutionary and Civil Wars. And I think this is kind of what this show is showing is, yeah, we have the big battle of the Gullet, but there are a lot of like these skirmishes that are happening, like the entire when the Tully, the Riverland and the Rivermen are kind of burned, they're the one Peter Piper when he's ambushed and he's killed. It's that stuff. Like that was guerrilla warfare. Them
Yeah.
putting the crow's feet and like that happening and them having to abandon their horses and then being led through a swamp where eventually they're kind of a bridge is burned and they can't get to where they're at. And then they're cornered by that. And then there's a battle that happens, but they're surrounded. Like, I get it, but I think what people need to see is like these kind of wars didn't have like in the time frame that we're going, we're not jumping ahead like months, weeks in advance. Like these things are happening. Like the way that's being shot so far is day after day after day. And so it would be crazy to have a huge battle and then like 2 days later another huge battle and then 2 days later
Right.
another huge battle. Like you got to show the guerrilla warfare in a normal war how it happens. It's a lot
Yeah.
of picking and sniping and doing that. And then what happens is it usually builds to a big battle. And then it dies down again, and there's skirmishes, and then it builds to a big war. And those are the kinds of things that I think people need to realize is like, this is a true, I don't want to say true interpretation of a war, true adaptation of a war, but this is how, like,
This is,
grab
yeah.
a history book. This is how war was handled. They
Yeah.
weren't all these huge major battles with hundreds of people dying. Sometimes it was 20, 25, 40 people dying.
Yeah.
And then they moved on to something else. There was another group that did it. So I get it, but I think people should understand that, again, much like we were talking about, is war does, you don't get to dictate war. This is what you're getting.
Yep.
We're seeing how they are going to always be building you towards big battles.
Yep.
And you can't have these huge battles every time because you would have hundreds. The war would have been done in season 2 if you got a battle every day, every episode.
Yeah.
It would have been over because how many you can't. That's hundreds of people dying every episode.
Right.
We're 8 episodes into this. You're talking about thousands of people being taken out, and now like, well, who do we have for season 4?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, fair, fair. And I think some of the for yeah, they couldn't show it all, and
No,
it wouldn't have lasted very long if they did.
right. Exactly. Like just let us get the skirmishes. Let us get the like I said, the little nitpicky like poking in your eye, like him sending pigeons and disrupting the city and like having the gold cloaks killed. And like just that's guerrilla warfare. And
Yeah.
that's what is more likely to happen in wars like that, where it isn't this technological precision stuff that we've got going on now.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents. Like I said, I can see why people are crabbing about it and being like, like, oh, 2 big battles aren't enough, but it's 8 episodes. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not like you haven't seen gruesome deaths.
That is also true.
You saw maces going to heads and smashing them in. You saw guts coming out. They talked about gelding people. They poked people's eyes out. Like, nobody's hurting here for
Right.
Kristen Cole gets shot in the face with an arrow. I mean, we're okay. We're doing
Yeah.
all right. Now, again, that's a fair criticism, I think, of season 2. If people want to talk about like there wasn't enough fighting going on, but this one they have given us fighting.
Yeah.
It's just not huge
It's not
$1 million
grand
battles,
scale.
right? Like we're not going. You can't possibly give us something on the scale of episode 1 every few episodes.
Right.
So that's my 2 cents. I think we're gonna leave it here because we are so this one is such a long episode due
Yeah.
to again my vacation, so I understand it. But yeah, good, and we will see you again in a few days with more X-Men
Yes.
97.
Yes.
Catching you up. Yes. So we will see you there and done. Bye.